everyone, welcome to my channel, Hello Girl DIY. Today I'm going to be doing 4 Dollar Tree July 4th Patriotic DIYs, which I hope you all love. So for the first DIY, I'm going to be using one of these one of Dollar Tree's Christmas signs. But you don't have to use one of the Christmas signs. You could really use any one of Dollar Tree signs that are more like the rectangular, larger ones. And then I'm going to be using some of their window clings. And these are their 4th of July window clings. I'm going to be using about all of them. And all I do is peel them off and just put them in the approximate position where I wanted them. And then feel free to play around with them all you want. Then once I have my window clings in the approximate position that I want them, I'm going to be using some of this Mod Podge. Now this is Dollar Tree's Mod Podge, and this is also the matte. You could also use, gloss or matte, whichever one you prefer. And then to attach these window clings to my sign, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the Mod Podge on the back, just kind of tack them and hold them in place temporarily until I can give the top a good thick coat, because otherwise they do like to move around. And then this is how it looks when it's all done. So now I'm actually going to be using another one of Dollar Tree signs. This is actually just the solid rectangular one. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is flip it to the back and remove the label. And then I'm also going to use just a pair of scissors to cut off the hanger. With the hanger removed, I actually realized there was a little bit of glitter on the back of the sign, so I'm just using a sanding block to go ahead and sand that down. And then I'm going to be using some of this wood filler, which I believe is from Lowe's, to just fill in those holes to give it a nice smooth surface. And then I will give it a light sanding after it's dried to make sure there isn't any excess roughness after I've spray painted. And then to spray paint, I'm going to be using this chalked Rust-Oleum spray paint, which I believe is again from Lowe's. And I'm going to do several coats because I want to make sure there's nice even coverage. Now to decorate my sign, I'm going to be using this USA, I guess called letter banner from Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the burlap apart and then pull it off the back. After my sign has been spray painted and has dried, I went ahead and arranged these USA letters from Dollar Tree on here, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue them down. Now it will take a little bit of glue to make sure that they are nice and flat on this sign, but that's okay, just give them time to dry. And then I wanted to make it a little more interesting, a little more 3D, so I'm going to be using some of this foam scatter from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of scatter them or place them around randomly on the top of my sign, and then use my hot glue gun to attach. And this is how it looks when it's all done. I've got everything glued in place. I think it looks super cute and really 4th of July and patriotic. For the third DIY, I'm going to be using these patriotic 4th of July paper straws from Dollar Tree and one of their pillar candles. And to start out, I'm going to work on removing that label on the back. I just wanted to remove the bubble part to be sure that there wasn't any, that any of my straws were not raised at all after I glued them. And then I'm going to open up my straws. Now, if you're doing this, you want to make sure that you pick up at least 2 packs of these straws, because I only picked up one, and after I glued them, I only made it about halfway. So definitely pick up at least 2 packs. And then starting with the blue and white ones, I'm going to just glue them all the way around my base vertically. And you want to make sure that you keep them straight and that you push them together and ensure good contact as you glue each one next to the other. So these are just some silver decorative straws, which I got from the Dollar Tree. I believe they're in the catering section. And these are just silver paper straws. And I'm using some of this satin white spray paint to go ahead and give them a couple coats so that they are nice and covered. And the reason I'm spray painting these is actually because I ran out of patriotic straws to use around my candle. After gluing the patriotic ones on, I got about halfway. So you want to buy at least 2 packs of these if you want to do patriotic all the way around. Probably actually more than 2 packs, because there will probably be a little bit of space left. But I just went ahead and spray painted these, glued them, and since it's going to be facing a wall, no one can ever tell. And this is how it looks when it's all done. I think it's so cute and such a great DIY for only a couple of bucks. So for the final one, I'm going to be using one of these houses from Dollar Tree, and this is their like nautical section or whatever you want to call it. They're kind of like their seasonal area. And I'm going to be using this piece of patriotic scrapbooking paper from Hobby Lobby. And to do this, I just measured the approximate height and width of this house. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get the peak exactly right, but I just wanted to get the actual squared or rectangular part of the bottom of the house right. So I went ahead and measured it with my tape measure and then made marks on my paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So to make the approximate shape of my triangle or peak on the top, I'm just putting my piece of scrapbooking paper on top and running my finger over the edges and then using my scissors to cut it. Now you actually, you don't have to cut it on the top perfectly so that you don't see any of the backing of the house showing through, because you're actually going to be covering it up. But I just did it to try to get as much covered as possible with this piece of paper. One thing you do want to be careful of though, if you're using this type of, I guess you would call it a house from Dollar Tree, is make sure you get those little indentations on the side, because those may be showing when you're done. But if you do want this to be one solid piece of scrapbooking paper, you can go ahead and cut a couple of strips of paper and then just line it up on the inside of your peak and use a pair of scissors to cut the angle. And then I just use a glue stick to attach this. I did this just because I wanted to make positively sure that everything was going to be covered. You actually don't have to do this because you're going to be covering it with a different piece of scrapbooking paper. But if you want it to be just solid, then you can go ahead and do this, especially if you're bad at cutting triangles like I am. Then I'll just be using some hot glue to attach all of my pieces of paper. And then to do the top, I just used a different piece of scrapbooking paper that I had on hand and cut out a triangle. I actually kind of like how there's different types. And then after I did this, I realized I cut the bottom line really crooked. But I was like, that's alright, I can go ahead and trim it a little bit. But I ended up not trimming it too much because I didn't want to score the piece of paper underneath, because I didn't want it to curl or rip. And then that same piece of paper actually had these little flags, and I thought they were really cute. So I went ahead and cut 2 of them out and then glued them at the very corners or at those little indentations on my house. And this is how it looks when it's all done. I think it's super cute and perfect for the 4th of July. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!